Hello everyone, my name's Quinn Stevens. I'm an independent game developer, and this is my Let's Play of my first game. It's called UFO Capture. Unfortunately, that's not the worst title I've ever come up with, but it's got to be in the top 10. This was a game I made in college for a computer science class, kind of an intro class to C programming. It was not a game design class, so it's actually kind of cool they let us make a game at all. It's a lot more interesting than the only other actual official programming class I ever took was a C++ class in high school, and I have no idea what we made in that. I've completely forgotten, but I still remember this game, even though it's pretty primitive, as you can imagine. So yeah, this is a little series. I had a conversation with a fellow indie dev named Megan Vocal from Clockwork Demon, about how fun it would be to have people kind of go back and check out their first games, or something close to their first game, and do a little let's play and commentary on it, just to kind of talk about where their roots are as far as game development goes. So this is my contribution, and I hope if you're a game developer yourself, you'd consider doing one of your own, because I'd be really interested to see what other people have to show. So this game, it was, like I said, made for a C class. It's very, very basic, and I think that, well, I'll show you a little bit of it, and you will get the idea very quickly, because it's not very complicated. So let's just go ahead and click, as per the instructions. Welcome to UFO Capture. Would you like instructions? 1 yes, 2 no. I don't know why I needed to input 1 or 2 instead of, like, the full words, or better yet, have buttons. But like I said, this is a very, very basic intro class, so we didn't get into a lot of UI design or anything. So let's go ahead and look at the instructions. And I don't know why I thought it was okay to put blue text on a black background. It's a good thing I wasn't doing web design yet at this point, because it probably would have looked like this. So you can probably barely read that. I can barely read that, but let's try it. In UFO Capture, you play a young county bumpkin, with a keen interest in 2 things. This is cut off, the text over here, for some reason, which is interesting. I'm actually still kind of impressed that this runs on a more modern Windows setup at all. It was developed in, I think I was running a machine with Windows ME at the time, so it's actually amazing I got anything to work. But that's a whole other rant that I'm not going to get into. So anyway, it does still run, and it runs pretty well, I mean, such as it is, but I guess the text is not rendering completely properly, but I think I can guess what I wrote here. So anyway, you have a keen interest in 2 things, photography and aliens. Luckily for you, the sky above your house is teeming with flying saucers every night. Your goal is to take pictures of as many saucers as you can before your film runs out. Film, notice that. So obviously this is a little bit old. This is a while ago when you still put physical film in your cameras. I know some people still do that, but it's funny how much that instantly dates this. Yeah, this was my sophomore year in high school, I believe. Sorry, not high school, college. So I believe this was probably either late 2002 or early 2003. So kind of right on the divide between film and digital, which is interesting. Anyway, unfortunately, due to your cheap, shoddy camera's lousy autofocus, you must be very accurate and something close to the center of each saucer as you can. If you miss, you'll see a big red X cut through your viewfinder, but if you capture the UFO, you'll get points. The UFO is vary in distance, so the closer the UFO, the more points you get. As you can see, 100 points, 200 points, or 300 points based on how close the UFO is to you. This is also a little preview of what the graphics are going to look like. They're very, very basic. Watch out, though. The closer the UFO is, the more likely it will zap you with its death ray when you snap a picture. Are those extra points worth the risk? You decide. So I was trying to work some actual sort of game mechanics here by giving you this very, very basic risk-reward mechanic. But since everything is randomized, it doesn't work super well. So let's go ahead and press any key to begin. Please select difficulty, 3 easy, 2 medium, 1 hard. I don't remember what the difference is between these. I think all it changes is how likely you are to get zapped by the UFO, or really the flying saucer. It's not really unidentified. We know that they're aliens. And I think it also changes how fast they move around the screen. So let's just go ahead and choose medium. Okay. Is this going to work? Okay. Press Control A to begin. I have no idea why you need to press Control A. It's, like I said, we're not really getting into good interface design here. All right, and now we're in the game. If you're wondering, that super jerky, flickery motion is not the result of my video capturing software. That's just the way the game looks. There's no real animation happening. Basically, I'm just drawing these UFOs on screen and just randomly moving them in various motions. And then after a certain amount of random time passes, they disappear in that little blast of, I don't know, hyperdrive or something. All right, so I'm going to try to capture some here. So this is basically like a duck hunt style shooting game. It actually would probably work pretty well with a light gun, except instead of a gun, you have a camera. I don't know why exactly I came up with that concept, maybe because I didn't want to have to draw explosions, but because, as you can see, this is very, very primitive drawing going on here. But that was the decision I made. I guess I was just trying to be a little off the beaten path, which is probably why I tend to go for more alternative game experiences even now. As you can see, I have 3 exposures left, and I haven't gotten killed yet, which is pretty cool. Usually I get zapped by now. Oh, out of film. Game over. So, yeah, that's your score. The game does not save your score. It's up to you to do that yourself. Let's go ahead and play again, because I want to at least show you... Well, we can skip the instructions this time. Let's put it on hard level, and then I can show you what it looks like when you... Oh, you actually can click. You don't have to hit Control-A. Well, that's way better. I don't know why I didn't just tell you could do that. Anyway, now I'm much more likely to get killed. Well, actually, I'm a lot more likely to miss the UFO in the first place. I think the UFOs only actually zap you if you successfully capture them, too, which is interesting. So the greater your skill, the greater the danger to you. But obviously, this game is completely random. Nothing really changes. Jeez, out of film again. Nothing really changes based on what you put into it. Outside, your luck never changes. There's nothing going on behind the scenes. Let's just go ahead and put it on medium again. Maybe this is going to make it more likely for me to get zapped. Just want to show you my amazing special effects for when you get death rayed. Come on. I should really just wait until the closer ones come up, actually, because they're more likely to blast you. So that weird flickering effect there, the way this whole thing is built with a really weird little graphics library that I've been able to track down to one website on a university, like an ancient university computer science page. It's not even my university, which is interesting. There we go. Zapped. You got zapped. Game over. So your score doesn't go down or anything if you get zapped. It's just kind of up to you to decide if you are displeased with the fact that you got killed. I probably should have deducted points for that or something. But again, it's all randomized, so there's really no reason not to just keep clicking. There's not like a point where you can sort of be prudent and just hold back and not take the risk and actually gain anything from it. So as I was saying, this is like a weird little graphics library that just allows you to draw very basic shapes, lines and color fills and things like that on screen. So the saucers, as you see, are just made of ellipses and circles, and the little lights on the side flash between green and red, although it's a little bit hard to tell. And then this background is just a bunch of pine trees that I've made in classic MS Paint style with a bunch of triangles, and then we've got these stars. This is all randomized, the background, which was actually cool to learn how to... It was actually procedurally generating geometry for the levels, which was kind of cool, even though it's nowhere near as sophisticated as something like Minecraft would be. But it was good. It was a good thing to learn that you could actually do stuff like that in a game without having to hand draw and hand place every single element. So it kind of flickers weirdly because you have to manually redraw the scene every single frame. And I don't even know exactly what the frame rate is. It doesn't look very high. It's probably like maybe 5 or 6 frames a second, I think. Maybe like 10 frames a second. So it was quite primitive, but it was simple. We didn't have to like talk to OpenGL or anything crazy like that. Well, I'm not even sure that was an option back then. Actually, no, it was. OpenGL is very old, but it was good for beginning students because this was a very short class. This was not super in depth, and the actual game design wasn't the point. The point was to learn the basics of C programming. So C, of course, is not really a language people use. People use C++ a great deal for making games, of course, but C itself is just so low-level and bare-bones that it'd be pretty painful to make a game any more complex than this. And maybe that's partly why, actually, I didn't really get into games or game design for a long time after this, and it was when I started using Flash more seriously that I got back into it. I didn't really get kind of a click moment from the experience of making this game. I was a film major at the time, and I really wanted to make movies. And I liked games a lot, but they just didn't seem like the kind of thing I would, ever put my time into making on my own. They just seemed too complex, I suppose. So this was not actually like an epiphany where I realized, hey, I can make games. It was more like, wow, I can make games, but it's really hard. And I don't know that I want to put the time in to learn it when I have to start at such a low level. Especially as someone interested in film, I wanted to tell these big stories that, involve like complex characters and plot lines and, maybe big set pieces. And so the thought back then of trying to turn this into, an actual something that could be equivalent of a cinematic experience just seemed too daunting. So as a result, I didn't really touch programming again for years after this, pretty much until I had a job that required it. So I'm really glad that happened. And I got into it enough to start to learn, get over that sort of first hump where you really start to learn how to actually build things and how to work within your limitations and set reasonable expectations. And then you can start really having fun with things like game creation. So that's basically all I have to say about this. If anyone has any questions, feel free to send them my way, although I don't think there's much you're going to find of interest about the inner workings of this game. But once again, if you're a game developer yourself, or even just a dabbler or a hobbyist, I would love to see you go through your own first game and kind of talk through it, because I think we can learn a lot from the places where we start and just reflecting on the very early learning experiences that we had. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see similar Let's Plays in the future.